Hey everyone, so going to go over the project for Unit 8. We are getting back into my diet analysis and we're going to be printing some reports, doing some analyzation. So I wanted to go through this project to make sure everybody knew what was expected, what needed to be turned in, and how to do the project. Okay? So the point of this week's project is to look at your initial food log and all the foods and things, nutrients that you consumed. And then we want you to create a menu of 3 days worth of food, um, using foods that things you've learned throughout the class to make healthier menus. And we want you to enter those into my diet analysis, create the same reports, and then essentially compare. See what improvements you've made with the new menus. Okay? So for step one, you need to get into my diet analysis and print two reports for the original, well, not print, but save and submit two reports from your original food record. So this is your first profile, the all nutrients spreadsheet and the actual versus recommended intakes. Okay? This actually was also used in Unit 4, but I will show you here. If you bring up my diet analysis, all right, you want to go to your original profile, go to reports. Here we go. We have actual versus recommended and all nutrients spreadsheets. So you click on this, make sure all your meals are selected. You want to choose PDF, and then you show this report, and here it is. And then you can save it. So actual versus recommended original. Okay, so name it original so you know which reports you're talking about. Okay. Then you also want to print out the all nutrients spreadsheet. Again, same thing, same concept. Show the report. Save it. Original. Alright. You can close those out or you can keep them up if you'd like. Okay, so those are your two original reports. Now, what you want to do is make up 3 new days worth of menus for yourself, choosing some healthier foods, using the things you learned about. Okay, then what you need to do is create a third profile, like another profile. Okay, so we're going to go home here on my diet analysis to profiles, and you're actually going to create a new one, and then you would go through this whole rigmarole like you did the first time. Okay, name it something else, like, you know, for me I could do Kristen Morgan 2. Okay, and go through it. In this case, I already had one created, so we'll call it Read a Great Student. So you go to your profile, all right, with your new menus that you created, which you can first, if you'd like, you could do it in this format. If you'd like, menu day 1, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Day 2, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Day 3, breakfast, lunch, dinner. This ultimately does not need to be turned in, but it would be good if you needed something to brainstorm on. I'd suggest doing it beforehand so that when you go to enter it into my diet analysis, you have it all there. So you're going to go to Diet Tracker, just like you did in Unit 1, and go day 1, day 2, and day 3, and you enter all of the foods that you created on your menus. All right. I obviously was just choosing foods, and I didn't choose cheeseburgers and French fries. We want you to choose healthier options based on the things that you learn and how it would fit for your diet. So then you enter those things in. Okay. So this is where we're at. You make up 3 days of menus. You create a third profile, and you enter these foods into the diet analysis software. And then you create the same reports as you did in step 1. So again, all nutrients and actual versus recommended. Okay, so we go back up here to reports, same place we did it before. Actual, choose them all, PDFs, again, and you save them. And you do that for both. Okay, so you have 2 sets of the same reports, but for 2 different profiles with different foods. Okay, so using these reports, these are you're going to want to turn these in, okay? Down at the bottom here, we do have a checklist. Things you need to turn in: the actual versus recommended from the original, the all nutrients from the original, the actual versus recommended from the new menus, all nutrients from the new menus, okay? So I do want to see those. And then in your write-up, you need to discuss, all right? So what did your nutrient analysis teach you about your diet in general? So the nutrient analysis for this one's a little vague. You could do it for your original if you'd like. What did you learn about the analysis? You can look at your reports. Let's see. Here's my actual versus recommended for my original, and I can look at this, or this is my all nutrients spreadsheet actually. Here, let's do actual versus recommended. So I could look at my first day and see that my actual calorie intake was 1,000, recommended is 1,800. 25 grams of fat as opposed to 56. So you can look at the comparisons between the two. And what did you learn? That's what we're trying to get at here. What did this nutrient analysis teach you about your diet? Okay? Then, based on your original 5-day food log, actual versus recommended, okay? Based on your original 5-day food log, actual versus recommended report. So you want to pull that original one up. Original. We want you to, which of the nutrients did you consume less than or equal to 75% of the RDI? So look through this. Almost everything is under 75, okay? Do you need to do every single nutrient? No, I would stick with the main ones. I think if you discussed at least 5, I think that would be reasonable. So you want to choose at least, I would say, 5 nutrients that were 75% or under. Okay, so in this case, I could talk about calories, protein. Well, that one's okay, but calories, carbs, fat, saturated fat, and monounsaturated fat. Okay, so I could talk about 5 of those nutrients, all right? And then I also need to identify the nutrients that I consumed greater than 125% of. So in this case, I had greater than 125% of B2, of B12, of vitamin C, and I want to identify those. Okay, so what are the ones, at least 5 or so, that were 75% or under, and what about the ones that were 125 or over? So for every nutrient that you identify, you need to explain how that nutrient could affect your health and risk factors for disease. So for my one that is calories, inadequate calories, how can that affect my health? Well, I could lose weight. That may be a good thing, but some people might not. Okay? If you had most of you will not have such in excesses like I do, because I didn't enter all my foods in. But for example, let's say you had vitamin D that was less than 75%, which in mine I probably do. Yep, 19%. So I'm less than 75% for vitamin D. So that being said, what are some of the problems that can occur, risk factors, with low vitamin D? Okay? Same concept for the ones over 125. For all the ones that are over 125, how could that affect my health? If I'm having too much fat, how could that affect my health? Is my sodium too high? How could that affect my health? Is vitamin A too high? How could that affect my health? Okay, what we're trying to get at here is, where are you lacking and where are you in excess specifically, and then what specific conditions could you be at risk for based on this? Okay? Moving on then, we want you to name 3 foods that you could enjoy that would help boost the ones you are low in. So if I were low in vitamin D, I could boost my vitamin D intake with milk. If I was low in calories, I could boost it with maybe some extra butter on my food. If I was low in vitamin A, I could boost it by adding carrots to my daily diet. Now for the ones that were over, name 3 foods you could easily give up to reduce these nutrients. So if I were high in fat, I could remove my sour cream. If I were high in vitamin A, maybe I could remove my carrots. Things of that nature, okay? It says use citations to back up this information, so if you use your book, you want to reference that, okay? So name 3 foods you could use to boost and 3 foods that you could remove to better meet the recommendations, okay? And then you want to go on to compare your reports from the original food log to your made-up menus. So what differences did you notice? You have your original log, and then you have your healthier menus. Did you see any vast differences between the two? Did you consume more fruit or more vitamin D or more vitamin C in your new menus than your olds? What differences? Were you lacking in the new ones? So what specific improvements did you make that made the most difference? So if you were super high in vitamin D compared to your old one, what did you do differently? Oh, you started drinking more milk. Yeah, that's going to bring you more vitamin D. So these are the things we want you to talk about. If you actually ate the foods in your menu, how would these changes influence your health and risk factors for disease? Okay? Then this one's easy. Explain how your diet has or has not changed over the course of the term. Okay, so this is the discussion. Be sure you hit all the high points. These are the reports you need to turn in, and then of course the answers to questions 1 through 5. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, give me an email and we can figure it out, and we will go from there.